I've talked about how to shave your face a few times on this channel, but what about shaving your bikini area? Today, I'm giving you all of my tips, tricks, and techniques for a successful shave down there. I'm Dr. Sam Ellis. I am a board-certified medical and cosmetic dermatologist in Northern California, and I'm here to help you understand your skin and find products that work for you. So if that sounds good, give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. So I feel like shaving is kind of a skill that no one really teaches you, or they sort of give you the gist, but they don't get into the nitty-gritty details. But the reality is, if you're going to have a successful shave, especially in the nether regions, you need all of the details, and that's what this tutorial is all about. So make sure you pay attention, like lock in right here. You do not want to miss any of the details because I truly think executing your shave with all of these steps and with the products I recommend is key to getting that smooth shave without ingrown hairs, razor burn, or that post-shaving itch. Now, before we jump into the techniques and the products I recommend, I do want to be very clear that it is such a personal choice whether or not you want to shave your bikini area or anywhere on your face or body. As a dermatologist, I sometimes find that when people are discussing intimate areas, they can get a little bit uncomfortable, but as a doctor, this is not something that makes me uncomfortable whatsoever, and I want you to feel comfortable in your body too. So this video is going to use all of the vocabulary. We're gonna have some diagrams. I want you to be able to shave successfully no matter where you're doing it. These shaving tips and the tools that I recommend using are absolute game changers. I have had so many girlfriends tell me like, oh, finally, like with your tips, I was able to actually shave correctly. And I mean, a book club is for talking about shaving your pubic hair, right? Like I constantly am giving out tips as a dermatologist. I feel like my friends feel really comfortable coming to me with even their more intimate issues because one, I'm not judgy at all, and two, I feel like I often have some feedback or advice for them, and so many people have changed up their shaving because of this and found success. And I'm going to break it down into the shaving preparation, the actual shave, and the aftercare. So make sure you stick around for the aftercare because how you take care of the area that you shaved is just as important as how you shaved it. Number one, preparation. First and foremost, make sure you have enough time to dedicate to this shave. I'd say give yourself a good 15 to 20 minutes to get this job done. And as you get more familiar with what you're doing, you may be able to do this faster, but when it comes to the bikini area, it's so important to go slow and take your time. Shaving quickly is going to make you much more prone to ingrown hairs and to missing spots. And if you are dedicating time to shave this area, let's do it right. Another part of your preparation that I very much recommend is if the hair has grown out and it is longer than I would say about 1/4 of an inch, you definitely want to trim the hair before you begin shaving. And there are a couple ways you can do this. You can trim it with scissors. I prefer using something like an electric beard trimmer, but essentially you are not trying to get a super close shave with this, but just take down the length of the hair because those long hairs are going to clog up your razor super quickly and dull the blades faster. You want that hair length to be probably around 1/8 of an inch or what I would consider sort of stubble or what a week of pubic hair outgrowth would look like on you. And the last part of the prep, aside from making sure you have all of your tools, which I will get to in a second, is to put some type of bench or stool in the shower. Now, a lot of people will have a bench in the shower already, and that's perfect, but it's really helpful if you have something in the shower that you can put your foot up on so that your leg is elevated so you can reach all the places you need to reach. So you've set aside some time, you've trimmed the hair, you have your stool in the shower if you need it. Now let's actually get into the shower and start this process. First and foremost, you're going to wait till the end of your shower to do your most intimate shaving. The reason for this is as the warm water comes in contact with your pubic hair, and especially over time, that hair is going to swell a little bit and it's going to soften. This makes it a better target for your shaving razor, and it makes it so that you don't have to apply as much pressure to the hair when you're shaving. So for most of my patients, I recommend you get in the shower, you do your shampoo, you clean your body, and then maybe while you're letting a conditioning mask soak in your hair, you dedicate some time to shaving. Now, you're not just gonna go in and start shaving right away. First, we need to prep the area. Aside from trimming any long hairs that have been in the area, you also want to exfoliate the skin before you shave. And this is such an important thing to do, and I feel like so many people neglect this step and end up with razor bumps when they could have avoided it. With exfoliation, you are removing those outer dead skin cell layers and any additional debris or buildup in that area. The reason that's so important is because when you start to shave, you want want your razor to be able to get as close to the base of the hair shaft as possible. And if you have a lot of dead skin cell buildup there, it's not only going to clog your razor, but it's going to prevent you from getting the closest shave possible. It's also really key when you're shaving that your razor is able to glide on a very smooth path over whatever skin you are traversing. And if you have little bits of dead skin cell buildup and debris, you're not going to get that smooth surface that you're looking for. Now, I don't recommend exfoliating that delicate skin more than a couple times a week. So if you are shaving more frequently than that, you only need to exfoliate every few days. But if you've gone a long time without shaving that area, absolutely, you must exfoliate for a successful shave. Exfoliation typically falls into a couple of categories. You have chemical exfoliation, which is using things like acids to break apart the dead skin cells. And then you have physical exfoliation, which is using some type of scrubbing technique to remove the dead skin. And you've probably heard a lot of dermatologists say that they prefer chemical exfoliation in general because it's a little bit more predictable and gentle. But when it comes to the intimate areas, I actually much prefer physical exfoliation. Now, within the category of physical exfoliation, there are lots of different things you could potentially use. Using a body scrub in this case would not be my first choice. I actually prefer using something like an exfoliating mitt, similar to what you would use to prep your skin for a self-tan. And of course, I'm going to link all of the tools and products I'm talking about in the description box so that you can follow step by step. So you've got your exfoliation tool. Next step is actually performing the exfoliation. So what I like to do is have the exfoliation mitt on and then apply some type of very gentle cleanser. If you have a gentle facial cleanser, this works perfectly. But if you have a favorite body wash that you've consistently used in the pubic area and it hasn't caused problems for you, it's also fine to use that. You're going to take a generous amount of that cleanser and lather it up in your exfoliation mitt or on your warm, wet washcloth, and you're just going to do small circles, gently exfoliating all of that pubic skin. And if you're planning to shave the back door, then you want to exfoliate that area too. You want to do this slowly and methodically and not apply a ton of pressure because we don't want to irritate the skin and we want to gently lift off that outer dead skin cell layer. So I would say it should probably take you 20 to 30 seconds to do the whole thing. After that, you're gonna rinse the area clean, and now we are ready to start shaving. If you're going to be shaving other parts of your body during your shave, I definitely recommend shaving the pubic area first when that blade is the freshest. Now, a big mistake people make when they're shaving their bikini area is they reach for a razor that has 5 or 6 blades. The problem with multi-blade razors is that you are getting a lot of friction and a lot of passes of the razor over the same spot. And when we're talking about the delicate private area skin, it can't handle that much friction without getting super irritated. That's why I always recommend using just a single or double blade razor, but no more than that. I really like the Venus Intimate Grooming razors. These have 2 blades, I believe, and the head is just a little bit smaller, so it's a little easier to navigate some of the creases and folds that occur in the pubic area. Aside from a razor, you're also going to want to use some type of shaving gel or shaving cream. For years, I have used the Aveeno Therapeutic Shave Gel. This is hypoallergenic, it's fragrance-free, and it does really well with hair everywhere, but especially if you're going to be putting it down there. So many times I hear people say, oh, I just shave with soap, which is fine, but if you're dealing with razor burn, ingrown hairs, itching after you shave, like, up your game. Use a shave gel. And then the last thing you're gonna want as part of your setup, aside from your shave gel and your razor, is a little cup that you can fill with water, and you're gonna be using that to rinse your blades. Now, of course, in the shower, you can just reach up and run it underwater, but I find you get a much better rinse of the blades if you kind of wiggle it around in a cup of water. All right, you're at the end of your shower now. You are ready to start shaving. Let's talk about some tips and tricks to do this successfully. Number 1, you are going to be shaving in the direction of hair growth. So many people want to shave against the grain, meaning in the pubic area, you would be dragging the razor upward. The reason that is problematic is that causes a lot of snagging and pulling on the skin and is going to make you way more prone to ingrown hairs. I made a little diagram for you. Wow, things you'd never thought you would have on your YouTube channel. But if this is your pubic area, when you are shaving with the razor, you are going to be shaving down, away from your belly button. And if you're shaving your inner legs, you are going to be shaving down and slightly inward. Got it? Now, as you approach the vulvar lips, this can be a little bit of a trickier area. People do grow hair here, and if you want to shave that, you should be able to do so. But the key here is really pulling the skin quite taut. So you're going to want to reach down and use your fingers to sort of spread the skin out and make sure it's really taut. that's going to prevent you from having to use the razor really hard or aggressively on that area. We always want to be shaving over skin that is pulled taut whenever possible. So if you're resting your razor on the skin and you're not getting clean contact or direct contact of the razor with the full swath of skin, you need to stretch that skin out a little bit so that you can do that. Aside from shaving in the direction of hair, which again is so important, you want to be shaving with really short strokes. Now, I know this is counterintuitive because we all grew up watching the Venus commercial where the girl reaches down towards her ankle and pulls a stroke all the way up towards her knee. But if you do that in your pubic area, you are in for a world of hurt. So when we are shaving this area, aside from just shaving downward, we are doing itty bitty strokes. So we're going 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch at a time, little stroke, little stroke, little stroke. No more than a few strokes before you rinse your razor and get back in there. Which reminds me, if you are using shaving gel or shaving cream, please be generous with it. Work it into a rich lather and really coat everything before you go in and start shaving. Aside from the water that you've been letting run over that pubic area, softening the hair, shave gel can also help soften the hair and prepare it to be shaved more successfully. And in a perfect world, you are not repeatedly shaving over the same area again and again. This is where having a fresh, sharp razor comes into play. The more times you pass over an area of skin, the more likely it is to become irritated or for you to develop razor bumps. And like I mentioned before, you do not have to shave anywhere that you don't want to shave. So if you're going for a particular pattern or design, once you've sort of figured out where you want to go, just stick to that. But if you're trying to shave everything, after you've shaved the top and you've shaved the inner groin area, the next thing you're going to want to do is start working your way to the back. And that's where that stool is really going to come in handy. And in fact, that stool or that bench should also be used when you're shaving that inner groin area. It's so key that you have access to that area and also that you can see as best you can what you're doing. If you're blind shaving, just reaching back there and hoping for the best, that's not the ideal situation. I also do want to talk a little bit about shaving around the anus because a lot of people, if they're doing the front part of their pubic hair, they may want to take care of the back end as well. Please excuse my drawing, I am not an artist, but if you could imagine this is someone's butt cheeks spread a little bit. Here's the anus, and here is the hair that tends to grow around the butthole. It also tends to track upwards into what we call the superior gluteal cleft. Now, when you are shaving this area, the direction of hair growth is actually inward towards the anus. So when you are shaving, you're going to be reaching back or squatting or elevating your leg on a stool and shaving towards that area. The other thing I really want to mention, aside from taking those short strokes, reapplying your shave gel, and rinsing your razor often, is you want to be going really slowly. So you do not need to be swiping your razor over the skin. This is something you should be doing slowly and methodically. Treat that skin like delicate baby skin, because essentially it is. The mere act of slowing down your shaving routine will set you up for a more optimal shave and a more optimal recovery, because when we're talking about removing pubic hair, we're not just talking about the act of having something bare or something look clean, but you also have to feel good afterward. And I feel like so many problems with shaving don't arise during the shaving process itself, but rather afterward when you are recovering over the next couple of days. And maybe recovering is not the exact right terminology for this, but if you've ever had a quick or hasty shave and you've developed razor burn or you've had itching afterward, it does kind of feel like a recovery. So the whole point of going through these tips and using these techniques and using these tools is so that you're not dreading shaving and you're not dreading the aftermath of shaving. I do want to talk a little bit about that post-shave itch because it is very common for people who shave in the beard area or in the pubic area to develop that. And a lot of people think it's due to the hair growing back through the skin and that's causing irritation. But the reality is most of that post-shaving itch is actually due to the irritation and the friction that happens during the shaving process. And that's why it is so important to do all of the steps in order every time, letting that hair soften in the shower, using a cushy shave gel, using a fresh razor, not doing multiple passes over the same area, shaving in short strokes. These will all help. Do not skip aftercare when it comes to taking care of the areas that you shaved. What you do to your skin and what you put on your skin after you shave is going to make a really big difference in how comfortable your shave is in the next few days while that new hair is growing in. Product number one that I absolutely love for after shaving, and you can use this in the pubic area, I have a lot of my male patients use it when they're shaving their beard, is something called Tend Skin. This is a pretty basic formula. It's actually an alcohol base, but in addition to having alcohol, it also has aspirin in it. Alcohol helps clean the area, and then the aspirin in there acts as an anti-inflammatory anti-inflammatory and a soother. So if you're someone who struggles with a lot of bumpiness, redness, or itch after shaving, this is a must-have. You can sort of think of this as a post-shaving toner, and there are a couple different ways you can apply this. So you're gonna rinse really well after you shower, you're gonna get out, you're going to towel dry, and when you're towel drying that area that you just shaved, you want to pat things dry. Remember, you just exfoliated, and then shaving is another form of exfoliation there, so you don't need to be rubbing that area any more than you just did. Then you're gonna take your tend skin, which is really like aftershave, and you can just kind of drop some in your hands and then sort of pat it in and around the areas that you shaved. And be generous with this. Do a couple of coats. If you feel more comfortable putting it on to something like a cotton pad, go for it. But I like doing it directly into my hands because I feel like it just wastes less of the product. And as a reminder, you are not putting this internally at all. This is all staying on the external genitalia, the areas that grew hair and now are shaved. I actually got this recommendation from one of my patients. She was a water polo player in college and so was shaving her bikini area a lot because she was wearing a swimsuit a lot. And I played water polo in college and no one told me about this, but wow, what a game changer. Aside from applying your aftershave, you're also going to want to moisturize that area. I feel like a lot of people don't really think about moisturizing that skin, but just as you would moisturize any other skin on your body, your pubic area needs a little TLC too. Any gentle moisturizer that is designed for use on eczema or sensitive skin is perfect for this. I use the Prequel Barrier Therapy Cream because it has oat to help be soothing and it has ceramides to support the skin barrier, but any of your go-to moisturizers should work. And then lastly, I do like having a little bit of hydrocortisone ointment on deck. Now this is something you can get over the counter. It's 1% hydrocortisone ointment, and this is really good for if you start to develop itch or razor bumps. You apply a thin layer of this a couple times a day for a couple days after you shave, and it's gonna help keep things a lot more calm. Now, not everyone is going to need this, but it's a good thing to have in your back pocket. Now, this is a steroid, though I will say not a very potent one, so you don't want to be applying this every single day to that delicate skin, but for a few days after shaving, it's perfectly fine. Now, if you shaved your bikini area because you plan on being outside and in a swimsuit, it's also so important that you are applying sunscreen to that bikini line. Because you just exfoliated that area, that skin is going to be more susceptible not only to irritation, but also to sun exposure and sun damage, and you don't want to be getting excess sun on that area because it can lead to hyperpigmentation. Already, naturally, most people will have darker skin in the pubic area. That is completely normal, but I also feel like most people would hope that that area doesn't continue to get darker, and if it's getting sun exposure, particularly right after you've exfoliated, you're risking that. And then lastly, after you shaved, especially if you're prone to ingrown hairs, wearing more loose-fitting clothing or looser-fitting underwear for the day afterward can help prevent those ingrowns. Essentially, you're just trying to reduce friction on the area. Now, if you need to wear leggings or you have to wear your tights, go for it. You have to live your life. But the less friction and the less pressure on that pubic skin right after you've shaved, the better. People have also raised the concern of, well, if I'm shaving down there, am I going to be altering the pH or creating a problem? No, shaving has never been shown to cause problems like that. You don't need to be putting any shave care or skin care internally. Keep everything external and you'll have no problems. There's also a myth that is constantly propagated out there that if you shave the hair, it will grow back thicker or darker. No, that is absolutely false. Whether or not hair is growing thicker or darker is determined by the stem cells of the hair, which exist in the bulb way down deep below the skin surface, nowhere near where you're actually shaving. So when you're trimming the hairs, whether that's with scissors or with a razor, you're not affecting the hair growth cycle in any way. You may have the perception that the hair is thicker or darker because you are cutting all of the hairs in the same plane of section. So instead of having this nice taper to the end of the hair, which is typical, you'll have a blunter end, which can appear thicker. I hope you found this video helpful. Definitely give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you did. Also, if you've developed any shaving techniques or have any particular shaving products that have helped you shave those more intimate areas, definitely share them in the comments. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll catch you next time.